Welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
This week we're talking about bike prices and how they're out of control and how some people decided they hate Constantine.
We're also going to be discussing the results of the race Ollie and I had, as well as the hot tech that we got coming up for this week.
Let's do it.
Okay, right, first thing we need to discuss, we've got to address something here. So before Christmas, Manon and I made a video about how a road bike can cost the same as a motorbike. And it got pretty heated in the comments section. So first thing I want to do is hold my hands up and say, I didn't discuss the subject deep enough, sufficiently.
Yeah.
Shoot me now. Shoot me now if you want to, but we're here and we're going to discuss it more now.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't on my watch, but...
Don't you join in? God.
No, but we do read your comments, and you know, we take on board things that people say, and it's something that's great about what we do, and we love having that interaction with the audience.
I'm more than happy to be challenged on different subjects, and the fact that we're here talking about it more and people have spoken about bike prices more, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do, but there's several things that we need to unpick here first. And the first thing is that, as people were pointing out, the mechanical complexity of a motorbike is far, far greater than a push bike.
Yeah, there's way more parts.
Yeah, typically like 2 times or 3 times as many individual components in a motorbike, right?
Yeah.
So on the face of it, you'd go, well, it should be kind of 3 times the price.
3 times the parts, yeah,
because it's 3 times the complexity. But it isn't quite as simple as that. The business models are very different, and the manufacturing techniques used are very different as well.
One thing that we should point out, though, is that carbon bikes, although less mechanically complex, they actually take a longer time to make because there's less automation done. So road bike, you're typically looking around 24 to 30 human hours on working on the frame. That's like the layup, all the painting and stuff done like that, which is also part of the reason why we see lots of manufacturing taken to regions such as Asia, because, well, human labour is just cheaper out there, isn't it?
Yeah, human labour is the biggest cost. And then, you know, on top of that, you've got the assembly of the bike, which again is done by hand. There's not robots fitting group sets to bikes and wrapping bar tape. Again, you know, that adds more time onto that. If you compare this with the automotive industry, you're looking at sort of 10 to 30 hours, depending on the bike, to manufacture a motorbike, and that's done with a huge degree of automation on the assembly line. It's mostly done by robots. It's far quicker, and once you've set up the factory, and you don't have to then pay that labour cost.
And as I've said before, so motorbikes are only available in one size, which again helps to increase the profitability of that, because road bikes, you've got different frame sizes, different componentry sizes, gearing, there's tons of different options, which all counts against it.
Yeah, at logistical level as well,
yeah,
the distribution level. Yeah. So the result of this is that if we look at some figures, Ducati.
I knew you'd get figures involved here, you love numbers.
Of course do.
Yeah.
Ducati, €1 billion turnover in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. Pinarello in 2021, €90 million turnover. Ducati's operating profit was €109 million. That's bigger than Pinarello's whole turnover. Okay, but neither of those are the biggest companies in their respective industries.
Yeah.
So if we look at the biggest bicycle manufacturer, Giant, their turnover is $2.93 billion in 2021.
That's an eye-watering amount of money.
It's a huge amount of money.
Profit.
But it's absolutely dwarfed by Honda. So if we look at Honda's motorcycle division, so this is not including the cars and the other things they do,
only,
right, just motorbikes. Honda are the biggest globally. 20 billion, 54 million, 146,700.
It's the 700 you've got to make sure you get right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's ridiculous amount of money.
Absolutely dwarfing it.
Okay, so that's like some of the turnovers, but profit.
Well, so irrespective of numbers sold, motorbikes are just a far more profitable business to be in than push bikes. But before people start going, oh, you're just justifying the price of bikes.
We're not. I don't want to justify. Do you know what? I wish bikes were cheaper. I genuinely do. I don't want bikes to be as expensive as they are. I love all the crazy tech. I love the amazing stuff. I love the development. But of course I wish it would be cheaper.
Yes. Now, So before you all start saying we're just justifying the price of bikes and we're part of some big global marketing conspiracy cabal, which we're not.
They're all the other side of the camera looking at us now. They're all
with
lined
guns
up.
Pointed.
There's a representative from every brand.
No, we've looked into this topic before, and one of the things that we looked at was inflation and how inflation has increased and bikes have increased with inflation. However, they haven't.
There's another butt coming here, isn't there? Yeah.
Bike prices have increased way beyond the rate of inflation. And this is the concerning thing. So, if we look at a top-of-the-range model, like you were talking about the Trek Madon.
Yeah, I mean, it's outrageous, the price.
Right, okay. So in 2009, a top-of-the-range Trek Madon would set you back £5,000 in the UK. Similar amount in America or Europe.
Yeah.
Now, following inflation as it's been in the UK, it's slightly different in other countries. You're looking at about 4% every year. And then there was a slight bump a few years ago when we had the highly successful Prime Minister-Chancellor combination of Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng. That actually means that the price of that bike where it's sold today should be just over £8,000.
If it followed that trajectory.
However, it's not. It's £12,000 for the top-of-the-range Trek Madon SLR if you go on Trek's website.
So that's not a good thing, is it?
It's quite a bit more.
Yeah. We see this same problem in entry-level bikes, though. It's not just the top end of stuff.
And it's not just Trek, we should point out. We just use that as an example. If you look at across, pretty much all brands, it's the same.
It's across the board. We're talking about like top-end bikes, but it's the same principle for mid-spec and lower entry-level spec bikes as well. The prices are creeping up
if you look
more than inflation.
If you look at the price of the entry-level specialised Alley or the Giant Defy or whatever, and look at the equivalent model today from 15 years ago, yes.
And it's important to address, and it's important that hopefully there is change in the future, because we don't want to see people priced out of the sport.
No,
I certainly couldn't buy one of the top spec bikes right now. It's too much money.
Yeah, and people think that we're part of some big Illuminati marketing conspiracy cabal. Just ask yourself this: what incentive do we have, right, to price people out of the sport? Because we stand to gain far more by more people getting into the sport and being afforded to enter the sport, because that means more views.
I genuinely, I don't ever want to see people not be able to buy a bike. If we see people cycling, we've said it before, more people cycling, we're happy at whatever level you want to do that. Entry level or racing. But Ollie, right, we live in a world of free market capitalism.
Yeah, well, which is either a good thing or a bad thing depending on your perspective. But what it does mean is that the price of a bike or anything is arguably whatever someone is willing to pay for it. So if a bike is priced at an eye-watering $15,000, then as long as enough people are willing to pay that price for that bike, it's arguably worth that. However, if the profit that's being made by the company that's selling that bike is too big, and other competitors can make a product with the exact same performance or the exact same level at a lower cost, undercutting them, then arguably it devalues that product at the top, and they have to sell it at a reduced price, or the other company becomes more successful.
Well, we are kind of starting to see that in some instances with brands and products emerging from sort of like China and Taiwan, where they're arguably got pretty comparable tech, but they're able to really undercut the prices. But if you think about it like that, it also perhaps feels like maybe some of the bigger known brands with their crazy high prices are also then dragging up the price of the people that would naturally have sat at the lower end of the market, because if they're charging loads, we can charge a bit more too.
Yeah, I agree. It does feel that there could be that going on. And I do actually have an example of that. So, when Rafa came along and they started making super nice premium cycling clothing that was of a much higher quality than most of what else was out there at the time, just regards to the fabrics and the stitching and all the rest of it. They kind of
changed the game a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. It was luxury cycling clothing. However, the price of it was ridiculous. It is super, super expensive. And you would argue that it is really nice quality, but compared to what was available, several years ago, you'd pay like 20 quid for a pair of bib shorts. Yeah. My first pair of bib shorts, I think, were like 25 quid.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you've got 200 quid bib shorts.
Are they 10 times better? No.
Well, that's it. 10 times better. That's the thing. Are they 10 times better? Well, that's if someone's prepared to pay that, then arguably they are. But you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I remember having a conversation with a guy in 2014 who owned the company that made the first pair of bib shorts that I bought.
Okay.
And I said to him, "Wow, how's business going? You must hate Rafa. They come in and taken loads of your market and stuff and
charging big bucks for shorts.
Yeah, just coming in there, stealing your business." And his answer surprised me because he said, "No, I actually love Rafa because thanks to them, and selling their £200 bib shorts, I can take my £30 bib shorts and sell them for £60, and people think I'm good value."
Oh, it's so bad.
And that.
We don't want to see that.
That's what you're saying about the Chinese stuff's coming up.
It does feel as though that's perhaps being a thing.
Maybe.
However, Rafa does seem to have lots of things in sales. I mean, lots of brands at the moment seem to have lots of sales on. Do you know what I think we can attribute that to maybe being? The market sort of correcting itself a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's another example of, the free market. If
they can't sell it, they've got to reduce the price.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's it. And then a lot of brands have made that mistake of, a lot of brands are sat on too much stock right now. Bike brands, clothing brands, component brands, all sorts of things. And they can't shift it. And so, I think this year could actually be good for consumers because
big sales.
These things are being reduced and sold at a reduced price.
Hopefully, there is
or maybe it's not a reduced price, maybe it's the price that they should have been.
Yeah, maybe well, that's it. There's the market correcting itself to what people think they're willing to pay for it. Obviously, if they do a sale that's 40% off, people are like, okay, well, that price makes sense to me. I can go with that.
Yeah.
And maybe you've just got to stick it out and wait for those sales.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of the things I did like that you said, though, in that video, one of the few things...
Oh, God's sake. Go on.
I'm joking. No, it was... the
bus coming in a minute, run me over.
Yeah, no, it was the thing about... why do you need a bike as good as a Tour de France rider?
What?
I mean, the answer is you don't.
Yeah, okay.
Unless you are riding the Tour de France. But it's a silly question.
Yeah, but why does anyone want, top of the range anything?
I believe that Madonna said it best when she said, "'Cause we're living in a material world, and I am a material girl. We're living in a material world, and I am a material girl."
I gotta say, round of applause for that. That was incredible. So, Madonna has solved everything for us, has she? Well, it's a valid point, right? Anyway, I suppose people that are into luxury watches,
like you, you're one of them.
A little bit.
You're one of them.
A tiny bit. A tiny. This is not a luxury watch. It's a nice watch. Anyway, on that principle, though, people might spend £10,000 on a crazy watch that can tell you the time in space or a kilometre underneath the sea or deep sea diving.
Yeah.
You're never going to go deep sea diving to that depth. You're never going to go to space. But it's nice to know
that if you did, it would still work.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, yeah.
No one's going to do the Tour de France. But if in July you got a late call-up, you can go, do you know what, guys? I got the kit, I got the bike, I'm ready to roll.
Boom, we're off. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know a massive solution to all of it, but I feel like we've discussed it in a better way and made our point clearer on the subject.
Let us know your thoughts. We know you will.
Don't hate on me anymore, will you? I can't take it this early in the year. It's now time for Hot and Spicy Tech.
Yes, and starting with the results of our big Grand Slam TT Bike Battle Showdown that Alex and I had at the weekend.
Do you want to share the results, or should I?
Okay, so last week I literally blew the cobwebs off my TT bike, and Alex got his new TT bike out, brand new Orbea Ordu.
Thanks, Santa.
And we raced a 10-mile time trial at Castle Combe. I'm gonna say the best man won.
Oh, yeah, that's really kind. Thanks.
However, I have consulted my treasured book of cycling excuses, and I've compiled a short list.
Oh.
That was a bit of a...
Careful of your list.
It's a bit longer and heavier than I thought. Anyway, okay.
Right, come on.
So, I haven't ridden the TT bike since September.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Is your list duplicated on the screen as well?
Maybe. Maybe this was just a prop for a shit joke.
Come on, right, get your excuses out then.
Right.
Feel free, rattle them
I haven't ridden the TT bike since September.
Yeah.
It was cold. I've been enjoying the off-season since Taiwan KOM, and I've not gone out of Zone 2 since then.
Have you hit the pudding trolley?
I've been hitting the pudding trolley. It was too cold on Sunday for a warm-up. I had a cold in December, probably had some post-viral fatigue from that. And we need a rematch in a few months' time.
Whilst I'm going to say some of your excuses are valid, I rode in exactly the same temperature. I didn't have a warm-up.
Shut up.
Yeah. Anyway, there is one. Okay, I did. What did I beat you by? 55 seconds.
I wasn't counting.
It was about that.
Yeah.
I was absolutely robbed of the victory, though.
That was incredible.
I finished second overall.
Yeah, this is great.
The guy that won rode a recumbent. What's that all about? You can't ride a different type of bike. And as far as I'm aware, the able-bodied person could have ridden a time trial bike if he wanted to, but chose to ride a recumbent, and then proceeded to tell us that it was slower. I don't think it is slower. But, I mean, fair play. He won. If the rules say he can ride a recumbent round that time trial...
Yeah, more fool us.
More fool us.
We should have had recumbents.
Does highlight why aero is so important, though, and you are the aero king. I went 55 seconds quicker. I did 70 watts more than you. So clearly your position is way, way, way more dialed in than mine.
Yeah.
So if we do a rematch, I think I might be in trouble unless I get it all sweet.
My power was well down.
Okay, right. Have we gone on about that enough now? Because we have an exciting announcement to make. We haven't announced our new bottle partnership last week. We've now got Precision Fuel and Hydration
to go in those
on
bottles.
board behind you.
Yes.
And get the super gel to the side.
Don't confuse those two pouches with what you put in your bottle.
Pass me the super gel. It's behind you. No, not that.
Super gel?
Yeah, look at this.
300 gram big boy.
I think as punishment, people can let us know in the comments actually, as punishment for Ollie not beating me in a time trial, should we have to make him consume all of this and burn it off in one ride? That would be crazy. Loads of interesting products from Precision Fuel and Hydration. What is cool though, is I'm looking forward to hopefully avoiding that catastrophic bonk and huge dehydration that I had when we were in Mallorca.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. One of the things we're going to look at is sweat rates. Because, I mean, if you look at the Mallorca video and the sweat stains on you...
Salty boy.
I think it stands to reason that you might sweat quite a bit more than I do.
Yeah. That's why I always have the aircon on 20 in here.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not all. We've got news from...
Lotto Dstny.
Lotto Dstny have changed their bike sponsor.
Oh, that actually links in nicely. Precision Fuel and Hydration are a Lotto Dstny sponsor. Couldn't do that if you tried, could you?
Yeah, they changed their bike sponsor. Quite one of the bigger sort of tech news stories from Top Racing. Gone from Ridley. They ended their deal with Ridley early and they've changed to Orbea.
So the team are going to be riding a mixture between the Orca and the Orca Aero, but also using Orbea's in-house wheel brand, which I think Occo. But yeah, I think that's super interesting news though. Actually, I'm intrigued to see at what races they choose between the Orca Aero and the super lightweight climbing bike, because the Orca did kind of shake it up a little bit when they launched that, going back to like traditional bike silhouette shapes. Yeah, exciting, eh?
It is interesting that, because the bikes are very, very different. One is like very aero and one is very light and a lot less aero. And it's just, like we've mentioned this before, I think we should do a video on it, where you look at, is the advantage to have the option of those two different polarised bikes?
Yeah.
Or to have just the one all-rounder, like specialised teams, Pinarello use, you know, where... like.
Yeah, where there's that new thing where people are like, it's a lightweight aero bike, or do you go all-out lightweight or all-out aero?
Some good, exciting e-bike news as well.
Yes.
From Yamaha.
Let me tell you more about it. So Yamaha have launched an e-bike battery subscription service where they've partnered with a company called Inring. So they've got swappable batteries basically for compact urban electric vehicles, mainly e-bikes. In a bid to try to remove the need to constantly charge the batteries up at home. So theory is you're out riding your e-bike or another compact urban electric vehicle that's running out of charge. Instead of sitting there I don't want to say a fool, but sitting there like someone's got to wait for an hour or 2 hours for their battery to charge up, switch the battery out.
Or just potentially limiting the length of your journey.
Yeah, good point as well. So you pull up to the station, get a fully charged battery, away you go. You're kind of paying for having that available rather than having to wait and charge up all the time.
Yeah, it's. Anything that helps improve urban transportation and make that greener and get people on bikes and reduce congestion and cars and all that stuff, I think it's great. This actually reminds me of a system that I saw in Taiwan when I was there. They have e-scooters. So a big problem in a lot of sort of Asian countries is the pollution that's created by scooters.
Yeah.
Everyone's zipping around on them. And they introduced electric scooters, and every single 7-Eleven, and 7-Elevens are everywhere in Taiwan, has these batteries that you can take, and you just pay that like a subscription thing, and then you just swap your battery out when you pop into a 7-Eleven, and you go again on your e-scooter. And I think they're
I think it's cool.
It's really good, yeah.
Now, people that aren't up for electric urban mobility will say, the batteries are really bad. Yes, batteries are not great. But they're saying this is going to create a closed-loop system in which when the battery reaches the end of its usable life, they're going to take it apart, dismantle it, and create new batteries rather than adding more raw materials into the system. So in theory, it should be a bit more sustainable and eco-friendly, which is good, I think.
Yeah, interesting.
And then finally in Hot Tech this week, we have seen a few more team kits been released.
Who's the winner for you? As in, who's got the nicest one?
Well, one I was just about to say, the Canyon SRAM women's team really like they've had mega kit for the last few years now. This year's kit, I think, has topped last year's for me. And it's actually, kit is supplied and manufactured by Canyon. It's interesting. Also...
I think a lot of the women's kits are nicer than the men's kits. I like SD Works.
Yeah, I'm totally agreeing with you on that. The women's team kits are way better than the men's ones in general.
Yeah.
EF kit was released as well. If you want to see all of the different team kits that are launched
That's my favourite
so
men's
far,
one, though, the EF.
Yeah. Head over to GCN website because we've got an article, which I said last week, we're updating as new ones are released. Right, more Hot Tech next week. It's now time for Comments of the Week. Ollie.
I really liked Thingy's Irish National Champs jersey, Ben Healy's EF one.
I've not seen that yet.
That's really cool.
Okay, I'll have to have a look.
Comments of the week now. First up, we've got Mark Sticky0688, who, this was us talking about smart trainers in last week's show and the most cost-effective way to do it. And he said there are loads of second-hand smart trainers available now after the COVID boom, about half of the new price.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's always been the way with exercise equipment, but especially so now after the COVID boom, Like, people always buy exercise equipment and then never use it.
BN Biking says, after 10 years of using a wheel-on-dumb trainer and speed and cadence sensors, I swapped to a direct drive smart this year after a bike wreck. Had me a neck brace for most of the season. Bloody hell, that sounds awful.
Oh, wow.
But then they're saying they wish they'd have made the upgrade to a direct drive sooner. Now they're doing loads of great weekend rides now the neck brace is off.
So what we're saying, if you're going to commit to indoor training, smart's the way to go. So this is a comment on the light bike video that we put out. So we found this bike, 3.6 kilograms
Blows
in
my heart.
Arizona.
I wish I could have seen it.
Oh, absolutely crazy. And this is from Sketchy0078, who says, I'd be more interested to see a longevity test of a bike like this. I'd love to see the cost of keeping something this fragile on the road over a period of a couple of years. Well, it's when they actually priced it up, I asked them, sort of what it would sort of cost to do a bike like that. I was surprised that you can buy bikes that are considerably heavier for a lot more, a lot more money.
Yeah, it doesn't always equate the right way.
I think the frame is pretty sturdy, actually. I think the areas where it's more fragile are things like the chain rings, maybe the cassette.
I'll tell you what I was maybe not a huge fan of was the amount of dremeling done on the brake levers. If you're in an emergency and you want to slam the brakes on, I'm not sure how much faith I'd have in those. I'd be saving weight elsewhere.
Yeah.
At Yules_3000 said, seriously sad that Ollie didn't get to ride the bike. It's like a lesson in restraint.
Yeah. One thing I didn't point out in the video is I probably would have done, but the tubs weren't glued on.
Yeah, not safe.
So I would have rolled a tub. Didn't want to do that.
Talking of tyres and tubs, actually, had a weekend video where I was speaking to Sam Brassan, who's like tyre expert from Pirelli. Loads of really cool information there. A lot of people really enjoyed having a bit more of a deeper dive into the subject. David Braddon Mitchell, 3152, says, love this interview, real info on a difficult subject from an expert who's been being completely honest. Amazing, more like this, please. What was the other comment?
Yeah, Richard Harris, who says, Sam from Pirelli was a great guest. And that was an excellent interview, Alex.
Oh, very kind.
Maybe this isn't the place to mention the Smart Tyre Company's METL bike tyres, but what the heck? They gave us the airless shape memory tyre technology that NASA invented for their Mars rover missions, which they claim gives a smooth ride despite being made of a light, flexible material. When is GCN going to give us lowdown tyres that can't go flat?
Well, it's something we did speak about in that interview, but at the moment, there isn't a better alternative to a pneumatic tyre. It still doesn't exist. Certainly not that is commercially viable for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a long way off, I think.
Yeah. It's. We'd love to try it, though. Once we can, we will aim to try that as soon as we can. Right, onto the bike vault.
Right, let me get
straight up. Let's go in, quick fire.
Yeah, you go.
We spent quite a bit of time talking already. This one is from Rob, right? And this is the bike
Dream
is a
bike.
Bossy Summit. And it's in Adelaide.
Ah, I'll see you there next week.
Australia. You say hi to Rob. What do you make of that? That looks like a pretty fancy pants build.
Love it.
Oh,
Can't fault it.
Super nice. Oh, hang on. How's he holding that up?
Just assume a shadow stand.
Bit of photoshoppage, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Benji next with a Lapia Airco DRS6. Oh, non-drive side. Just a nice.
Yeah, nice.
Powell.
And covered in gubbins.
Yeah. Powell, location, Hampshire.
Pavel.
With, oh, yes.
Pavel in Hampshire.
Oh, God.
With his Seika Exceed RDC. It's got Dura Ace on it.
Oh,
Look at
that looks lovely.
Fancy pants.
That is very fancy pants.
Oh. And he's held up by a stick. Yeah, I'm going super nice on that one. Come on. Look at that.
Yeah, that's well presented.
He's listened. He's listened. Good on you. Go, Pavel.
Jeff next with a look, KG181.
In Sunset Beach, California. Maybe he's seen Hank. Hank's out there. Right, so you're in Sunset Beach, California, right? And you chose that as a background.
That's a cool bike.
Why have you taken a picture of it next to the grottiest looking bin you could find? What are you doing?
The bike's incredible, though.
Nice.
What?
You're in California.
Yeah, but look at the bike.
Some people live in Doncaster. Do you have any idea how hard it is for them to get in the bike vault? You live in California. What are you doing? Nice.
Super nice. Yeah, and Andy next, right. Andy's written a description for us that we've got to read this out.
Okay.
It starts with Ollie. Starts with you. You go on.
This is Andy's Trek Amonda SL7.
I actually used to train around here.
There's a lot of gubbins going on here.
It's a nice. I used to ride past that sign all the time. Look where it's...
Ham sandwich. Yeah, it is a nice. It is a nice.
It is a nice.
Yeah.
It's not secured. It's not in the right gear.
Andy just wanted his bike to be featured and is happy with whatever it gets.
Yeah, good job, Andy. Yeah, it worked.
Sebastian with a Time Skylon in Singapore.
Whoa, look at that thing.
Yeah, that is cool.
Hot diggity dog.
Lightweight Meilensteins, Obermeyers on there. Ooh, fancy pants.
I got to be honest, that's probably a prime example of one of the bikes that we were talking about is very, very expensive earlier in the show.
Very, very stealthy and expensive.
I do like it though. Can you find any faults with it? It's not in biggie small.
No, I think I think we can super nice that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why the hell not?
Well, it's a long one. This one, Ho Yin next with a Tarmac SL8 in Hong Kong.
Let's make this the last one. Right. I'm going to say I'm not actually feeling it because I feel like it's lent on the. It's really close to being lent on the rear through axle.
I'm not feeling it because I mean, if we go, I mean that is one up from the bin.
The bin.
You know, Hong Kong. Why don't you get a picture of like Hong Kong in the background? You know, Kowloon Bay or something.
Yeah, it's a nice. Sorry. Right, that's it for this week's Bike Vault. Mega show. As always, please do get involved in the comment section down below. Let us know your thoughts on the whole bike price issue.
I think it's positive. I think that there will be a lot of good deals. I think
bike prices. There's good deals out there. You just got to hunt them out. Right, we're out of here. See you later.